Hello, humans and non-humans. It's me again, Basement Dweller. And I got an interesting topic that I didn't think I would ever have to say this, but Dead by Daylight is a party game. Yeah, I said it. Dead by Daylight is a party game. And for some reason, it shocks people and even irritates people that I say that the game is a party game. But, like, come on, man. It just is. And you know what? I decided enough is enough. I'm making the video. I'm making the video explaining to why I believe Dead by Daylight is a party game. So, you know, if this video does well and there's a bunch of comments here, I will make a part 2, you know, and try to, you know, debate essentially, you know, why I'm defending my opinion right here. So, this is all fun and games, you know, like, of course, if you don't believe Dead by Daylight's a party game, which, I mean, it is, but if you don't, like, that's cool, I guess, but, you know, but you know, I respect your opinion enough not to be, like, you know, mad over that. It's just everyone thinks things differently. And you know, this is just a fun video that, you know, mostly making it just so I could just get this opinion out there, just to tell people, the world, that yeah, I see the game as a party game, and this is probably why you should too, because apparently people are miserable when playing this game, and I feel like having this mindset will put more people at ease. So here is my first reason to why I see the game as a party game. There's just too much randomness that could occur. So, before you even start a match of Dead by Daylight, there's going to be one killer, right? And this killer could be one out of over 40 unique killers, right? You know, each with their own unique power. And then, on top of that, they could use a combination of, you know, 0 to 1, or most likely 2 add-ons, you know, out of 20 to choose from. And some are just mild changes to their powers, while some of them are just a whole brand new experience. So we have all this, plus the killer could equip up to 4 perks, which some are marginal, but many are very game-changing. And they could bring an offering, but granted, killers would probably only bring Blood Point or Hatch, or Mori offerings. It's not as useful as back in the day. Back in the day, you could be able to select what location you would want to be in, but unfortunately DBD nerfed that, so we don't have that. So we could forget about offerings. But so 1 out of 40 killers, over 40 killers, with many combinations of how they can modify their power, plus equipping 4 out of, I don't even know how many perks there is. There's a ton of perks already. Dang, I can't even think of how many perks there is. I probably should have written that down. But yeah, there's a lot to choose from right there. And then they're going to be paired up against 4 survivors who all come with a combination of up to 4 different perks, which some are marginal, but most of them are game-changing. And they could bring an item, and those items they have, they could modify it to affect its, you know, usage and purpose of it, so they could have their own different play styles. And if you play Survivor and you're most likely solo queue, you know, which is most Survivor players, I feel like, you don't know what your partners are gonna equip. You know, your teammates, they could literally bring a build that could help you, or a build that just sabotages the whole entire game. And then on top of that, you are set in 1 out of over 60 maps or in-game video locations. For those who don't know what a map is, I'm just assuming this because I got people that don't play video games that watch my videos. Just shout out to those people. But yeah, you could be one, you know, out of over 60 maps. And even if it is the same map, you know, back to back, the generation of how the maps are, they move key components like the generators, the totems, the chests, and even down to certain loops and pallets and whatnot. Those are also randomized, so you're not even guaranteed the same thing even if you're on the same location twice in a row. Are you seeing what I'm seeing right here? There is just far too much unpredictability when you start a match of Dead by Daylight. Like, sure, you could try your best to control the randomness, but you just can't. There's just too much unpredictability in Dead by Daylight. And I feel like if this quote-unquote non-party game really was a non-party game, it wouldn't want to have so much randomness, you know? It would try to keep it in a more even playing field in a way that the game would, you know, be less random, you know? Like, I'm sorry, but like the thing is, you could be quote-unquote skilled at the game, but there's just so much out of your control, which could most of the time greatly affect how the whole match outcome is going to be. You could literally have like a build designed for like vaulting and breaking pallets, but you end up in a map with sparse pallets and no vaults at all. I have the unluckiness of having a full vault speed build just to have a map with no vaults. Yeah. And then you could play as a stealth killer, but you're out in the open. Or you could play as a killer that, you know, that needs, you know, distance like that, but you're in a cramped indoor map. You see all stuff that are affecting this stuff like that. You could, if you're playing Survivor, you could be in a Survivor sided map. You could be in a killer sided map. You could be what's most likely most of the time in between. But then you could even have a Survivor sided map while you're Survivor, but then you have like two teammates that have a build that doesn't, you know, connect with what's going on with the killer's play style. So then because of that, there's all, you're seeing the picture here? There's just too much out of your control that it feels like you're rolling the dice or trying to win a lottery for each of your match. And I feel like this feels so much like a party game. In a party game, you don't have much control of stuff like this. And this is my first reason into why I believe the game is a party game. Because if I were to make Dead by Daylight not a party game, I would first off cut down on how much content there is to make it more streamlined, you know, like, so like less killers cannot modify their powers, same locations, you know, a small pool of locations, and each of them are always generating the same, and survivors, we cut down on their perks and they can't equip items and this and that. So stuff like this is what I would do if I were to make Dead by Daylight a non-party game. But the fact that it's not like that just kind of proves that the devs kind of see like how the game is, you know, is meant to be as its most casual game out there. Next up, we got the game's design at a meta level. So when you play Dead by Daylight, you log in and you pick survivor or killer or whatnot, and you play a match, you win, then you lose, and repeat. That's all you do. So in the game, whenever you play, depending on how much you interacted with the match, you get rewarded with blood points, which is used to level up characters and stuff like that. So essentially, you know, it's like going to a party, you know, and depending on how well you, not how well, how much you participated is how much candy you get as a reward. If you win, you get candy. If you lose, you still get candy. In fact, you can have scenarios where you max out all the categories and still lose, and you still get all this candy. You know, like there's no stakes for losing, you know? There's no grand reward for winning. Like, sure, sometimes when you win, you might get a little more candy, but sometimes you could still lose and gain even more candy. I've had moments where I play a survivor and like the killer never interacts with me. I escape, which by definition that's a victory, and I didn't get that much blood points. You see, the game is designed just for interacting. That's really what it's designed for, and it rewards you just for, well, participating. Everyone's a winner in Dead by Daylight. Oh gosh, I could hear someone getting mad when I say this. So like the only thing you quote unquote lose for losing is your pips, which I guess I'll explain in a bit. Pips is what you can only get up to 2 per match, and depending on how quote unquote interactive you were in the match, you know, or how well you performed, I guess, you gain more pips, and if you lose, you don't gain pips, right? And the thing is, back then, if there used to be an old rank system, which they removed the rank system. I'm gonna point this out. There used to be a rank system, but they removed it. And the old rank system, if you lost too many times, you would actually de-rank. But in this new grade system, you don't lose a grade. You know, it keeps going up and up, up. And then on the 13th, it resets, and depending on how high your grades were, you gain more blood points. You know, more candy, essentially. You don't gain any premium currency, you don't gain cosmetics or a badge or anything to show off that you had a high grade. No, you just gain more points. That's about it. You know, like there's no real punishment for like losing, you know, because if you, let's say, a low grade, well, those points don't really add too much, you know, to the experience. You could live without them, but I mean, not live, I mean, of course you could live without them, but like, there's no like super grand reward you can get with these points. And then so I guess I could talk about a rebuttal that I see people say, like, oh, if Dead by Daylight's a party game, why is there skill-based matchmaking or MMR and this and that? Oh boy. Okay, so let me boil this down. So I been playing Dead by Daylight before they added the MMR, and I played well, I mean, granted, everyone who plays Dead by Daylight now has been playing way more with the MMR, and I could tell you this, that I didn't felt that much of a change, and that's because the MMR, I believe it works like this. There's just two pools, the new player pool and then the rest of us. And I say this because I encounter survivors of all different types of skill levels to the point where I don't even think there is a true skill-based matchmaking in the game. And even if there is, I don't even see what the problem would be, because people say, oh, that means I have to try harder and this to win. But I'm like, why? If you lose, you'll be paired with people around your level and stuff like that. You know, if anything, all it does is just make future matches more engaging. You know, you don't have a super one-sided experience. And if you do get a quote-unquote one-sided experience, supposedly it matches you up to prevent that again. You see, I don't even see what this issue is. If anything, it's like the equivalent of going into a party and being matched up with people at a similar age group, so you're not paired with little kids or super athletic jocks, you know, that are gonna like demolish you. You're putting with people that are around your quote-unquote skill level. And even then, I still feel like the game doesn't even do a good job at that. So it also adds to the randomness. You could literally be paired with amazing teammates or horrible teammates or good opponents, weak opponents, whatever. It literally could be anything. I mean, I guess supposedly, theoretically, you could be super unlucky, you know, and just be having back-to-back-to-back bad matchups. But I feel like that's like, you have to be super unlucky. This has never happened to me in all my years of playing the game. And I guess that there's one of the main reasons why I even see this game as a party game is because there's no like high stakes, you know, for winning or losing, just like a real life party game. You know, when you play a game like hide and seek, I don't expect to get any physical prize. It's just bragging rights. And since there's no in-game rank system, you know, the MMR, the skill-based matchmaking isn't visible. You can't see where you are. So really, you're just playing for bragging rights, essentially. You know, just say, oh yeah, I beat these players, you know, haha, I'm pretty good. That's about it. You don't gain like a cool thing, you know, you just that's it. And then like I said, when you lose, you still gain, you know, blood points, you know, for participating. So like there is no high stakes, you know, to this, you know, that a more competitive game would have. You know, a competitive game would have a rank system. If you lose, you know, you would D-rank. And if you know, high rank, you would get cool, like, you know, rewards like a badge that shows off your you know, to other players how skilled you are, or a cosmetic that's exclusive for high rankage. But no, the game is not designed with that in mind. There is no rank leaderboards, no rank rewards, no ranked mode. You know, because the game was never designed to be ranked. And I guess my final nail in the coffin to why Dead by Daylight will always be a party game is it's never gonna be balanced. Actually, I have one more thing I could add to this, but yeah, the balance. The game is a 1v4, so it will never ever be fair. You know, a more competitive or more non-party game, let's example chess or soccer or any other like shooter game out there, you know, like they would have it where all players are on an even playing field, but the only difference is how skillful you are. Dead by Daylight doesn't matter how much skilled you are at the game, because you're always going to be put up in different scenarios that could be fair or unfair or stuff like that. Dead by Daylight isn't a game where you're testing your skill, because it's never balanced in a way where that would be the case. You know, the game is always changing, so like there could be some days where like a good period of time where, you know, killers feel awesome, or there could be a period of time where killers are in a pretty bad scenario, or vice versa with survivors. So like the game is not designed to be this competitive game. It's just straight up a party game. And then lastly, I guess I could also mention oh wait, before we go that, I also want to add to this whole balance and whatnot is like the game isn't, you know, you could be super master or skilled player, right? But you could still be paired up against teammates that are like not even at your level, you know, which ends up making you lose, or there's just things out of your control that, you know, a real competitive game, you know, or skillful based game wouldn't have. So that's just my before I move on to the final topic. But yeah, lastly, Dead by Daylight is straight up a glorified version of hide and seek and freeze tag. That's really it, you know, like down to the core. There's one killer, 4 survivors. Their job is to get out without being caught, you know, essentially. If they get caught, they're placed in an area and they have 3 strikes and they're out. That's literally a party game. I'm like, this isn't all serious or anything like that. I just, you know, just want to just babble about why I believe the game is a party game. And I'm just curious, you know, if, I mean, I know that apparently this is an unpopular opinion, so you know what? Comment down in the comments, explain to why these, with all these reasonings, if I missed something that makes you feel like it's not a party game. I guess I could mention, oh, the players are toxic and stuff like that, but I mean, you could just go in anonymous mode, turn off any messaging, play the game, boom. Party game with no consequences. No one knows what, you know. Yeah, there's that as well, guys. So yeah, the game's a party game. I welcome those to challenge this stance, you know. I'm hoping this is popular enough so I could read and do a sequel video where I go down to explain why I see the game as a party game. And yeah, I've been the Basement Dweller. Take care. Also, I wanted to show off in the footage that, yeah, guys, I did win as Hag. I only did this because I was watching a Hens video, and they're like, oh, Hag is pretty strong, you know? So I was like, what do you mean Hag isn't strong? So, like, you know, it's like, here's me playing as Hag. Yeah, see, guys, I got the Mori, you know, we win, yeah, well, we won there. Ash is dead, and, yeah. I've been the Basement Dweller. Take care. Have yourself a groovy day / night. I've been him. Them. Laters. Bye.